Hi there. Welcome to today's episode of Stand Up. I'm very excited to have you here. It's my daily podcast, and most days I have a very special guest, but today's show I'll share my appearance on Stephanie Miller's show, where I was her very special guest, and it went well, so I'm sharing that with you. So that is what I've got coming up. But first, I've got your headlines and clip show. Also want to mention that I should be live with the brilliant Anya Kamenetz today at 10 a.m. and also the brilliant Professor Nicholas Grossman at 12 noon today. Check us out on Substack at StandUpWithPete and join the live conversation. And finally, I'm going to be with Jon Carroll and some other of our favorite listeners from the stand-up community tonight in Northampton, Massachusetts at the Iron Horse Music Hall, where Jon is going to be performing and doing an album release party. Several listeners are going to be there. I'm very excited to see all of you. But let's get to those headlines and the clip show. And remember, I can't do it without your support. Please get a paid subscription over on Patreon at Pete Dominic or Substack at Stand Up with Pete. Or you can just send me money on Venmo anytime. There's a link to my Venmo account at the end of every day's show post, show notes. But now it's time to get to the shit show. Here's what I'm seeing and think is most important and impactful for Tuesday, August 10th. First, a powerful earthquake has struck South American country Colombia again. South America, I say again, because it was Venezuela a couple of weeks ago, killing more than 100 people. The 7.4 magnitude quake damaged more than 1,500 residential buildings, 52 schools, 18 health centers across several major cities. Everybody searching for survivors. Crazy videos coming out of Colombia. The third largest city, Cali, at least 26 buildings collapsed. So send your thoughts and prayers and money and anything you can to those folks who are dealing with that horrific tragedy, and be grateful that we haven't had something like that happen here. All right, let's move on to something, I don't know, arguably worse. I guess not. Yesterday, there was an executive order signed by our commander-in-chief called for American children to be immunized against only 11 diseases instead of the 17 that have been recommended by the CDC. He said he was motivated in part by concerns over whether vaccines were tied to autism, even though there's no evidence of that other than his son, Barron. I think that's what he's tying it to. It's unclear whether the president's order has any legal power, and this is the third time in less than a year that he's ordered that American children be immunized against fewer diseases. And he wants to spread the shots over time, but it can't give them that way. Doesn't work that way. They're not even packaged that way. Dr. George Benjamin, CEO of the American Public Health Association, says it will create more confusion and put more our kids at risk, increased risk from preventable and infectious disease. But listen, nothing this stupid monkey said about vaccines can or should prevent you or anyone you know from vaccinating your children against a litany of preventable, awful, often lethal diseases that they might otherwise get. Nothing at all has changed your ability to vaccinate your child, and insurance still should cover it because they don't want you to get sick and have to pay your health care. So there you go. But a big story yesterday for sure. More news from Flacido Domingo. Last week, he suggested that a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz was imminent. As often is the case, he was wrong, huh? Yeah, a senior Iranian official told news reporters at MS Now yesterday that Iran will reopen the Strait of Hormuz only if the United States meets all the conditions that Tehran contends are in the June Memorandum of Understanding between the two countries. The official who spoke on the condition of anonymity described closed-door discussions that said those conditions included unfreezing Iranian funds and assets and the end of fighting in Lebanon. So they have us over a barrel, and they're dictating the terms of the memo of understanding. And apparently there's reporting that the greedy McGulfey wants to quietly just slink away from this war. All right. Well, this is some bad news. I don't know how to break it to you, but July was the hottest month on record in the U.S. since records began in 1895. Yeah, hottest month. I mean, it was pretty hot. Anecdotally, you remember, but the data says it was the hottest. Lake Mead, the nation's largest reservoir, fell to its lowest levels ever in the latest warning of the Colorado River's dire condition, which supplies so many states out west with water. And so that is your climate update. Now let's get back to our long national nightmare. Hungry hypocrites. Immigration crackdown has created an all-out siege on the courts that has stretched to the judiciary to the breaking point, according to Politico, who has a new analysis that says judges are ruling against the administration in overwhelming numbers, nearly 17,000 times. They are ruling against the arrests of these, quote, undocumented immigrants. And so interesting analysis from CNN. Definitely check that out. Let's go to the war in Russia, where Ukraine, I said Russia on purpose because a Ukrainian drone has killed at least 13 people, injured 75 others in a city deep inside Russia, marking the deadliest attack to hit the country in more than 2 years. The city, 600 miles east of Moscow. It's a major technologically advanced oil refinery, and Ukraine's armed forces said that they are targeting it. Videos on social media show huge blaze raging, plumes of smoke rising from an area just outside the city. How do you know that it's actually real video? Well, they put in this report where I'm reading from CNN.com that CNN geolocated the plumes of smoke. So that's what news reporters and outlets are having to do right now to make sure that these videos are not fake. All right. Well, that's what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. The strike, though, I should mention, comes as both countries intensify their aerial attacks against each other. And this report says while the front lines of the war largely stagnate, more drones and missiles are slipping through both sides, fraying air defenses, meaning that the civilian toll has increased and more critical infrastructure being damaged. July, the deadliest month for Ukrainian civilians since April 2022, and 1,396 people have been killed. 7,978 injured in the first 6 months of the year, an increase from 24 to 25. So it's getting worse over the last year, according to the UN. Apparently, traffic to Hippopotas's third-rate social media network, Truth Social, has fallen sharply this summer. I mean, everybody's traffic falls sharply during the summer, but happy to see that that's what's happened with Truth Social. They had double-digit declines, so more than everywhere else, apparently, in June and July, according to estimates from a widely cited online tracking firm. Also, members of his team told Republicans in Ohio not to pressure the accused alleged sexual harasser, violent abuser, Congressman Max Miller, to drop out. So, yeah, of course, because the only thing that Donald Trump hates more than people of color are women, and especially women of color. But he hates women, and so he's going to always defend abusers and question anyone who would accuse them because he's just the worst guy in the world. Apparently, he also learned that he was secretly whisked off of Air Force One on an airport catering truck and flown out of Turkey aboard a different military aircraft last month after officials identified a credible Iranian assassination threat. Bombshell reporting from the Washington Post last night. Some sources are saying while in the catering truck, he ate everything, and they couldn't get him out. He's too fat to get out the door in just that time period. All right, those are your headlines. That's what I've got for you. Let's get to the clip show. Let's start today's clip show with James Tallarico. Well, 3 men who are running for Senate that are all role modeling, I think, good behavior. Here's James Tallarico at a Texas church where after he talks religion a lot, which I don't usually like, but the way he's doing it, I like it. The pastor comes up and endorses him, even though they really aren't supposed to and never do endorse him. This pastor was like, you know what, this time I'm going to do it. I like this clip. I like the little organ music in the church behind it. Here we go. Take it away, future Senator Tallarico, who's going to win Texas for us, huh?
Spend so much time looking for God out there that we miss God in the person sitting right next to us, in that neighbor who bears the divine image. 1 John tells us that you can't love God and hate other people. You can't love God and oppress the poor. You can't love God and abuse the immigrant. You can't love God and bully the outcast. Matthew 25 tells us exactly how we're going to be judged and how we're going to be saved: by feeding the hungry, by healing the sick, by welcoming the stranger, by visiting the prisoner. We love God by loving our neighbors. In the face of a neighbor, we glimpse the face of God. Faith without works is dead. You judge a tree by its fruit. Jesus said he's the light of the world, but he also said you are the light of the world, me and you. In a time of shadows, we must shine our light.
So let me say this, in the spirit of my pastor, Reverend William Alexander Lawson. He would always say this whenever he had an official that came to the church. He'd say, no, we don't endorse candidates. That's not the church's role. However, you should know who your pastor endorses and believes in. And I want you to know my full, total, and complete weight is behind James Tallarico to help change the lives of Texans and the course of this nation. Amen?
Yeah, how about it? Tallaricoing. I like that. I like what the pastor said as well. Now let's go to a current sitting senator, Jon Ossoff, who everybody seems to love. He was in Georgia also talking to a group of religious, I think these are mostly black folks at this church.
In divine faith, if Donald Trump thinks Georgia voters will be deterred or intimidated from exercising their rights after all that was sacrificed to secure them, if he thinks in the year 2026, he's going to come down here and silence the people of Georgia, he will be dealt his most resounding defeat yet. See, he forgets your power. 5 years ago, on the morning of January 6, 2021, his mob sacked the U.S. Capitol. Do you remember? But it was that same morning you shocked the world and you sent to the U.S. Senate the young Jewish son of an immigrant and a black pastor who holds Dr. King's pulpit at Ebenezer Baptist Church. And then earlier this year, when the Supreme Court eviscerated the Voting Rights Act, the president's allies launched a campaign to remove black elected officials from office, not by defeating them at the polls, but by manipulating maps to dilute minority power. Did you see that? And then in the face of overwhelming opposition and mobilization, those who had plotted to diminish your power instead were humbled and full of fear, and they stood down. And because of your power, divine faith, I believe we will overcome this wickedness. We will overcome this wickedness and restore hope and return our nation to the path of progress. But change won't come from the top. That movement has to begin with the people. And once again, that movement has to start right here in Georgia. So, divine faith, are you ready to move? Thank you so much for having me.
There you go. Ossoffing. I like that. Thought that was really good. The guy's always so good. And I really like Abdul Al-Said. I think he's talking to David Sirota in this video, but he's talking about what it means to be a real man and how ridiculous all the posturing is. I like this back and forth. He's a very likable guy.
You're asking me about like Pete Hegseth and RFK, is that like they're trying to speak to this particular group of people.
Yeah.
And it ends up trying to like, again, just create one more performance that is like the way to be a masculine person.
That's
you know?
Yeah.
And, as we thought about it on the campaign, like this is something I've always done, but a lot of what I'm trying to do is be like, hey, look, being a man is not about how you show up in the gym. It's like how you show up for your family.
Right.
It's about how you show up in your community.
Right. But this does benefit you.
Yes. It benefits me. It benefits other people. And it's like, it is a good discipline.
No, I was saying, I'm sure there are political benefits to being
a gym bro,
a lefty guy who's also a gym bro, so they can't.
Yeah, I mean,
like
it's funny, right?
Association with like weakness.
Yeah,
and you're right.
It's funny because they're trying to come at me for like making silly videos on the internet.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, fine, you're right. I make silly videos on the internet. You know why? Because I'm not trying to perform this all the time.
Right.
I'm comfortable enough in knowing like what I am, that I can be silly and goof around like I would with my kids, and not be ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Right. But you're out here trying to measure yourself relative to this like performance of masculinity which is not real, not healthy, and like not sustainable.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what are you like? Is your whole persona just doing pull-ups all the time? Seems kind of empty to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you should do pull-ups some of the time.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to do sometimes. But like, this is your whole thing?
Yeah.
What I tell you, Abdul Al-Sayed is Dr. Abdul Al-Sayed. Sayed? I think I'm saying it wrong. Is very charismatic and likable, and I think he's going to win in Michigan. All right, 3 senators or two Senate hopefuls and 1 senator. Now let's get to one pope. The Pope was on his plane, and he was asked about all the hatred for Islam and Muslims, and he gave a very thoughtful answer, and I wanted to share it.
To a Christian identity of the West. Are they right? And what would you say to them?
All of the conversations that I had during my time both in Turkey and in Lebanon, including with many Muslims, were precisely concentrated on the topic of peace and respect for people of different religions. I know that, as a matter of fact, that has not always been the case. I know that in Europe there are many times fears that are present, but oftentimes generated by people who are against immigration and trying to keep out people who may be from another country, another religion, another race. And in that sense, I would say that we all need to work together. One of the values of this trip is precisely to raise the world's attention to the possibility that dialogue and friendship between Muslims and Christians is possible. I think one of the great lessons that Lebanon can teach to the world is precisely showing a land where Islam, Christianity are both present and are respected, and that there is a possibility to live together, to be friends. Stories, testimony, witnesses that we heard even in the past 2 days of people helping each other, Christians with Muslims, both of whom had their villages destroyed, for example, of saying we can come together and work together. I think those are lessons that would be important also to be heard in Europe or North America, that we should perhaps be a little less fearful and look for ways of promoting authentic dialogue and respect.
Okay, how about that very thoughtful conversation with Popey, the Popester? I like that. Pope Leonardo. Good stuff. That's exactly what the world needs to hear from the Pope. All right, let's get to the next clip. How about it? It is 2 of my favorite progressive commentators, 2 big lefties, Mehdi Hassan talking to the Majority Report's Sam Cedar about the socialist takeover of the Democratic Party. Smart chat.
You mentioned the Democratic Party and lessons to be learned. We're speaking not long after multiple primary wins by leftists, Abdul Al-Sayed being the biggest primary win of 2026 by a country mile, winning a Senate primary. Narrowly, yes, but some would argue doesn't matter how narrow it was. He took out $60 million of spending, the endorsements of the entire party establishment. He wins. Chris Raab wins in Pennsylvania. Malak Kuros wins in Colorado. Claire Valdez and Brad Lander.
7 DSA members are going to be Congresspeople this year.
According to my colleague Prem Tech, I think it's 9 total self-professed socialists, because Brad Lander is no longer DSA, but he does identify as a Democratic Socialist.
Correct.
So you've got about 9 socialists will be in the House in January by Prem's count. So that's just an interesting phenomenon, but also the lessons learned from Democrats about change, populism, anti-establishment messaging. I think that's really important. But what do you say, given we've talked about the Tea Party in 2010, as both of us are old enough to remember that period, what do you say to this common line now, which is this is the Democratic Party's Tea Party moment? What's happening now? This is the Democrats' Tea Party. And remember, the Republicans' Tea Party didn't work out so well for the Republicans. What do you say to that line of argument?
It is only analogous in the sense that there is an insurgency, and the establishment of the Democratic Party is completely out of touch with the voters.
Which the Republican establishment was, as we discussed, with its voters.
And I think that's really the end of the analogy. I mean, it's a very sort of like a lazy way of making an assessment.
It gives me an ulcer.
But I mean,
the whole both sidesism when it comes to this. You're right. The analogy is it's an insurgency. But then it actually does matter what you're insurgent about.
Well, of course. I mean, that's
issues people get annoyed when I say this, and you've said it, I'm sure, a version, which is, yes, there's a far right, and yes, there's a far left. The far right wants Nazism and ethnic cleansing. The far left wants Medicare for all. That is not the same thing.
And I would also argue that even in the context of like the far right in this country is pretty much a genuine far right. Yeah. Like, I mean, internationally speaking,
yes.
you start to bump up against fascism.
Yep.
As you saw
very quickly,
20 minutes. I got no problem with that. But the far left in this country is not communist. The far left.
It's fucking Scandinavian social democrats.
It's the Democrats in 1930.
That's true. It's FDR Democrats.
100%.
At best, international comparisons, it's Danish centrist.
And so even in the context of that analysis, what you're seeing is really a return to the roots of the Democratic Party, of the modern Democratic Party, which was the New Deal.
What did I tell you? Two smart chaps having a smart chat about Democrats. Okay, now here are two other guys talking. This is Hunter Biden talking to Tucker Carlson, and I thought it was interesting. I always love when they put a microphone in front of Hunter Biden. Not so much Tucker Carlson, though, but we don't hear too much from him.
Just take like the issue of stock trading, okay?
Yeah. My
dad in 1972 took a vow that he would never own a stock or a bond. And he kept that vow since 1972 in over 50 years of public life. And he retired from the presidency as having probably the lowest net worth of anyone that had ever entered the presidency. And meanwhile, he got tagged with this idea that he, is the Biden crime family and that, all of that crap. But my point being is this, is that how is it that we have not been able to pass a law?
I couldn't agree more.
And I know you do agree. But how is it possible? And it's not just Republicans.
Pass a law that prohibits members of Congress.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most common sense thing in the world. And it should be in the administration, too. It should be anybody with the access to the most valuable insider information of all. And meanwhile, not only are we not passing the law, Donald Trump is selling $100,000 early access to his True Social tweets, which is just a front running for insider trading, literally in the open. And that's what I mean, the quantitative, qualitative difference of Donald Trump as compared to anything I've ever experienced in politics before, is the sense that the rule of law is only applies as a weapon rather than as a prophylactic for the Constitution to be able to operate in a way in which the founders envisioned it.
Huh? How about that? Hunter and Tucker. Yeah. All right. Now let's get to Chris Christie. Why am I getting to Chris Christie at all? I don't know, but I love this clip. This is Chris Christie comparing Donald Trump to the guy he's most upset to be compared to, Jimmy Carter. What?
The real problem here is it was an adventure without a plan. And now, I was struck this week when the Iranians put out their list of demands to reopen the strait, reparations, etc. What struck me was that Donald Trump is about to become what he never, ever wanted to be, Jimmy Carter. Yes. He is being held hostage by Iran. They are holding the Strait of Hormuz hostage. As a result, they're holding the world economy hostage. And it's focused at Donald Trump. And I know from talking to him over the last 24 years, the one person he would never want to be is Jimmy Carter.
I talked to him about Jimmy Carter, too.
And and here we are. And it was all voluntary.
Oh, I hope that gets to Trump. I really do hope he hears that comparison. And I've also grabbed this clip for you of Ta-Nehisi Coates talking to Hassam Minhaj. Ta-Nehisi or Ta-Nehisi? How do I say it? He's always smart. That's what I know. And so I loved watching this and wanted to share it with you on today's clip show.
Overrate intellect and we underrate wisdom. I think you can use your intellect to illuminate, and I think you can use your intellect to cover. I think you can make people think. You know what I mean? That they don't understand certain things. You can talk really fast. You can breeze over things. You can overcomplicate stuff. I can remember in my house, there was this discourse, which vaguely hinted at the notion that, or not hinted at, but articulated that to our eyes, the Israelis were quote unquote white and the Palestinians were black. I don't mean literally. I mean like in like how we arranged our systems of justice, who was oppressed, who was not.
Power structures.
Power structures,
right.
yes. And race was power for us. Race is power. You know what I mean? And so that's not literally black and not literally white, but as power, right? I went out into the world and like I pretty much rejected that as a way of looking at the world. That's too simple. You know what I mean? That's not, you know what I mean? That's not sophisticated.
The world is a complex place.
The world's a complex place.
It's a complicated.
Yes. And I grew up around people who, you know, like myself, were not particularly well traveled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Had not, you know, seen, you know, much of the world. And what I found was that in fact, they were well traveled, actually. They had, you know, faced a complexity of humanity that people who quote unquote were more well traveled, who were more intellectual, you know, as we recognize it in standard forms, who were smarter as we recognize them in standard forms. Like their intellect was ultimately a cover for really, really awful things. And what I eventually discovered was, in fact, the basic morality that I had grown up with and the basic wisdom that I had grown up with actually probably had more to say about the world. I could have dropped anybody from the neighborhood that I grew up in West Baltimore, on the West Bank. And in 2 days, they would have understood.
All right, there you go. Ta-Nehisi Coates, brilliant as always. And that is your clip show and your headlines, your shit show, all of it. There you go. Now it's time to get to my conversation, my appearance on Stephanie Miller's radio show, which you can hear on Sirius XM, 9 to noon East, and syndicated all over the country. Steph is a legend, and it's always great to be invited on. You can tell the audio here is a little off. It sounds a little like AM radio. There's a little brown noise behind it, but I think it's worth it. I do. I didn't have a guest booked on Monday, but I do have two today, so look for me with Anya Kamenetz at 10 and Professor Nicholas Grossman at noon. And here now is my conversation with Stephanie Miller. Go follow her, go support her. I hope you like this. A lot of people did.
It's the Stephanie Miller Show.
This week, we saw an absolute fiasco surrounding Jeanine Pirro, U.S. Attorney for D.C. and future star of The Real Housewives of Hell. You might remember last month, she charged this former Olympic canoeist with a felony for allegedly vandalizing the reflecting pool, justifying her decision like this.
Hearn willfully destroyed property. Did he have any tools, or is it just his bare hands? Right now, we believe it's his bare hands, both hands. So does that indicate you believe that it was probably damaged before, or do you believe that he... Oh, he damaged it.
Okay. First, you have to promise not to take what I'm about to say out of context, because I do not want to see this pulled out in a headline tomorrow, okay? That said, we shouldn't always have to believe women. Because women, like Jeanine Pirro and many men, can be, and again, do not quote me on this, dumb as wrong as and louder than a drunk parakeet.
Oh, Lord. All right. Do you mind if I sit? I'm going to sit for this episode of Stand Up with Pete. Comedian Pete Dominic joins us. Hi, Pete.
Hey, guys. I'm so excited to be here. You know, you have John Fugel saying all the time, you know, so does now Alison Jaslow. All these great shows always have John Fugel saying, and it bothers me. It bothers me that he's a regular on so many other shows and has his own show, but at least I know he's not happy.
Yeah. kind of a piggy.
I think we can make the introduction if you want.
Please. Oh, give me some Fugel songs.
Don't be bitter. Speaking of bitter, you posted about Mike Rogers and his wife. Wow, his wife looks pissed. I mean, I guess because she's married to Mike Rogers, but did you see that video?
Oh, my God. I watched the video and then decided I wasn't going to share it because I didn't want anybody to watch it. So I just grabbed a screen grab, which does all the work because she's just there with a few facial expressions. 3, I think, mostly grimacing in disappointment, but no talking. Don't let her speak.
Yes, he said Mike Rogers' wife put out a video of him talking and trying to scare Michigan voters of the sexy, smooth Arab guy. Rogers talks about solving Michiganders' problems and acts like he's not a bootlicking fascist. LOL, his wife never speaks, of course. Okay, but she is like a ball of pent-up rage. You can see it.
Yeah, she's so mad about how hot Abdul al-Sayed is. She really wishes that Mike Rogers had his torso and likability, and that she really was mostly mad because she knows she's going to lose in that video.
Yes. Yes. Hope. Well, the other thing, by the way, is how many other people can call him a terrorist, right? And meanwhile, you said if actually interested in denuclearizing Iran, one of the worst possible moves is nuclearizing Saudi Arabia. You said, why are we giving the Saudis so much permission? I mean, these are the actual terrorists that actually attacked us on 9/11, not al-Sayed or Mandami, right?
Well, of course, but I mean, I think we all know the answer to the question, why does anyone get anything from this regime? Because they paid for it. They paid for it. But I was, trying to make the point, like, just to be clear about exactly, the Saudi Arabian, not only did they help the 9/11 hijackers and clearly know a lot more than the public knows, but it's led by Mohammed bin Salman, who's awful and horrible and has violated the human rights regime. And we're going to give him a nuke? He doesn't even let women drive.
Yeah. All right, here is...
And I agree with that, Stephanie. It's the only place we agree on.
Speaking of bigotry and Islamophobia, here is noted Republican from, where's she from? Crazy Town.
Yeah.
Republican of Crazy Town, Nancy Mace.
Yes. Ooh. With Omar Jimenez of CNN.
I want to ask you about something you posted online. A few days ago, you wrote, quote, every single Muslim holding public office in America is a Trojan horse and a threat to both national security and our republic. Are you saying that anyone who is Muslim is a threat to this country?
That's not what I said. Number one, I think we do have a real issue with radical
it sounds
Islamic
like that's what you're saying.
No, I was talking about elected officials. When you look at what has just happened...
So any Muslim elected officials, sorry to cut you off, but just to be clear, any elected Muslim officials?
And in the future, when our granddaughters are wearing burqas to school, we're going to
There's no indication that is happening on a wide basis. Folks that are getting into office...
Did you see the parade in Chicago today? Have you seen Dearborn? In Dearborn, Michigan...
An expression of culture, Congresswoman, is different than a blanket city policy.
The guy complaining about the call to prayer 5 times a day, they're trying to push these people out and our values out, and that's wrong. I think this is a conversation that we have to have. What are our values and what do they look like? I don't want to hear the call to prayer 5 times a day in an American city. I think
if you don't want to hear it, that's okay. The First Amendment protects from freedom of religion.
Wow. Yeah. That was journalism. In case you haven't heard that in a while, that was journalism being done. Also, Jake Sherman, we gave an award, Pete, for Trump said, a lot of people are saying I'm the greatest president ever, and he just said, no one is saying that.
I did see that, and I heard that clip, and well done, by Omar Jimenez. How could you possibly prepare for the claims that Nancy Mace is making there? And it's so cringe. This Islamophobia is getting so much more cringe because more and more Americans now know Muslims. Even Senator Bill Cassidy had to say over the weekend, had to defend Muslims because he's like, I'm a doctor and I know a lot of Muslims working in rural hospitals, and there wouldn't be any doctors if not for these Muslim doctors. And it was like he had to say, I know Muslims. It's been horrible since before 9/11, where I lived when 9/11 happened, the Islamophobia, because it's just unbelievable that people are still connecting American Muslims, especially someone like Abdal, not even especially, I can't believe I caveated it, American Muslims to terrorists. It's so gross, although she does make a good point about it. I don't want to hear the call to prayer. I don't want to hear that horn when there's a fire and the volunteer firefighters have to show up. I don't want any horns or noises.
Speaking of the call to prayer, remember when she showed up at the prayer breakfast and said, sorry I'm late, my boyfriend wanted me. And I was like, honey, no, I have a prayer thing. Okay. Do you remember that?
That was her call to prayer.
Yeah. Oh, God.
She was on her knees, for sure. Okay. So, hey, what? You also posted about the National Park Service is warning Trump's proposed triumphal arch will ruin just about everything near it. And you said, just like the guy whose idea it is, I bet this thing never goes up. God, I hope so. I don't know if you've seen the latest aerial photographs of the White House. You're just like, dear God. How are we going to fix this? Like, this is, right? And now it's like he's like, oh, it's not a ballroom. Now it's a military complex with a drone port.
I mean, I can almost deal with all of these other things. The arch is the one I care about the most because I care about Arlington Cemetery so much. Like,
me too. My parents are there.
Well, I care about it more than you.
No. If you weren't so blinded by your jealousy of John Fugelsang, you would be able to see clearly.
John Fugelsang has never been to Arlington. I just made up. I love John Fugelsang. I love your parents. I love Arlington, and I've been there.
You're his hair model, so I understand.
Every time I go to DC, I visit, and I'm going down there for my hair models event this weekend, Glenn Kirshner.
Yeah.
And on the way out, I always stop at Arlington. And the idea that this arch would be built is hard for me to believe that all of those of us who care about that cemetery will not allow it somehow.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that the East Wing is a cautionary tale. Like, he just did it, and now, I mean, I don't even know what legally is going to happen now. So Trump's much-desired White House ballroom could feature a drone port on the roof, as most ballrooms do. What? The image shows 6 drones on a white roof with numerous armed military personnel around the perimeter. This great and very important military asset sits atop the heavily protected ballroom at the White House. It provides national security for Washington, D.C., and will protect future President Donald J. Trump. So a federal appeals court ruled Friday, as you know, the ballroom project, for which he demolished the East Wing already, was illegal because they didn't get congressional approval, which we said at the time. So Trump raged against the 2-1 decision, calling it a national security threat of the highest level. He claimed the ballroom will be a military complex. Oh, my God. I mean, so now what, right?
Apparently, there's reporting, I think Maggie Haberman or somebody who has sources inside the White House reporting that he spends like 75% of his time on these construction projects. And it makes sense because that's what he likes, that he's into. He can't pay attention to anything that he's not into, like, a war. But that's what he's doing. And I think a lot of Americans are starting to pay attention. As the price of gas goes up, they're like, what's he going to do about it? And every time they see him, it's like, you know what we're thinking about doing now is we're thinking about also building a giant, some people are telling me that they're going to build a gold statue of me instead of the Pentagon or the Washington Monument. That tall, skinny thing, they're going to put a fat gold me.
Yeah, he's just, you're right, so in 24/7 delusion. This interview, he said about the voters, they're angry at Republicans, but they're not angry at me. They're not angry at me. They're angry at Republicans. Captain 35% approval rating. Yeah, they
Captain head of the Republican Party.
Yeah, exactly.
Part of it was a little bit of truth, though, because of if you believe that it's a cult, it's a call. I'm not saying people aren't peeling away, but it is true that they like him more than generic Republicans. There is truth to that because of the cult. He's kind of right about it.
Yeah, but I mean, even the latest polling is showing his cult peeling away. That where Democrats are ahead of non-college voters for the first time in ever. I think
it's hard to know how bad his image is or how terrible his brand is for other Republicans. It's hard to know, but I feel like you guys don't you feel like the fact that there's still anyone defending him in major corporate media, much less around the country, sycophants still worshiping him in the cabinet, that it's still so upsetting because we still know that there's 100% support from everybody who is working for him at the highest levels.
Yeah. Well, so all they have now is Grandpa's just doing a lot of commie scaring.
Yes.
Sam, do you know what a commie is?
I've heard that term a few times.
Right? There are no communists in America. Somebody pointed out, Michelle said, a reminder, President Roosevelt was called a communist by Republicans for passing Social Security and Medicare. Anytime a Democrat proposes a bill that lifts up the American people, Republicans shout communist. The old Red Scare. Republicans have nothing to run on for the midterms. I mean, you're like, that's it? I mean, I think Al-Sayed's done a great job. He's like, saying my whole name isn't lowering your gas prices, right? They've got bigotry again and the communist fear-mongering.
Yeah, it'll work to a certain extent. It always works. Play the hits. But these words mean less and less, especially to young people. They're just not as demonized. Socialist, communist. The words that mean more to young people right now are things like fascist. And so I think that you can use all these words. It's still gonna scare certain people. Those people are gonna tend to be older. But if you want people to pay attention, then offer solutions to their problems through government in this case, and that's what so many of these progressive Democrats are doing.
Right. Yeah. Nathan said, funny how the 3+ million deportations didn't create an influx of new jobs, lower unemployment, make housing more affordable, or lower grocery costs. I mean, that's it right there. The blaming the brown people thing that they do every single election, it's just not proving, it's not proving out an actual reality.
There was a three-pronged approach to making everything cost more. The first was deport essential workers who were doing essential work at every level, from hotels to restaurants to agriculture to building and so much more, everywhere, hospitals. The second was start a tariff and trade war, and the final one was to start a real war, a hot war with another country. Those three choices, all made by this guy. Republicans weren't clamoring for any of this outside of the deportations of anybody who doesn't look exactly like me and John Fugelsang, but that's what he did. All three of those things, that was his choice, and look what it's brought us.
And here we are with Iran, like where what did he say? The strait is sort of open, and we're semi-negotiating. Like we're out of ammunition, so that's why he's not making threats anymore.
He closed a tunnel we all used, and then like months later, it's kind of open.
Timothy said maybe blowing up dozens of fishing boats with $10 million missiles was not such a good idea from a military standpoint.
Great point. Such a great point. I don't know what those missiles were, how much they costed. They were the same missiles, but we should always also keep talking about those assassinations.
Yeah, exactly. War crimes over sex crimes, over financial crimes.
Yeah.
By the way, that's my new band.
Okay. 20 minutes after the hour. This. Forget about it. What? It is the Stephanie Miller Show. Pete Dominic is here at YouTube or StandUpWithPete.com.
That's right.
His new band is Financial Crimes Over Sex Crimes Over War Crimes.
Yeah.
That's right?
That's right. Okay. We're at The Hague.
By the way, so is it Michael Wolff just said, what hasn't been discussed publicly to my knowledge is the fact that, in my opinion, President Trump committed a crime in negotiating the settlement agreement, in this case, the IRS thing. And it's possible Mr. Blanche would be found to be a co-conspirator in that crime. Because, of course, because we were just talking about this. It literally is a story, Pete, for every records show Trump committed mortgage fraud. That's the thing du jour that he's trying to charge any of his political enemies with.
Well, he's criming every day his whole life. In the private sector, in the public sector, he's always criming. He's always committing crimes. So whether it be sex crimes or corruption crimes or business finance, white collar crimes, blue collar, all the collars. He was raised and worked with organized criminals. That's how he learned to be a criminal, from the most professional, best criminals. And so, yes, he's a criming.
Right. So he signed a mortgage for a Bermuda-style home in Palm Beach, Florida, pledging it would be his principal residence. Just 7 weeks later, he got another mortgage for a 7-bedroom neighboring property, attesting that it, too, would be his principal residence. In reality, Trump, then a New Yorker, does not appear to ever lived in either home, and let alone use them as a principal residence. The two houses are next to Mar-a-Lago. They were used as investment properties and rented out. According to ProPublica, Trump hung up on their reporter when asked about the mortgages. It's always the hypocrisy, right? Him calling mortgage fraud so deceitful, potentially criminal. He called another of his opponents crooked because of the mortgage fraud. It's always projection, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, speaking of projection, by the way, who amongst us haven't carried a few mortgages Stephanie. I'm sure most of your listeners can relate to
and
that.
also, had several hundred accounts closed for money laundering. Who amongst us hasn't?
Things happen sometimes when you're not paying attention. Today, but it's always projection, and especially when he's talking about specific people and talking about someone being nasty, someone being corrupt. Today he was asked about Joe Biden. There's news, I think Hunter Biden talked about Joe Biden's cancer is spread and he's in a lot of pain. And so they asked the President of the United States, and he said, I don't care. He goes, I don't feel sorry for him. And it's when will we be rid of the cancer that we all are collectively dealing with every day? And it's just, he's always doing that. He's such a horrible, terrible person every opportunity he gets. So when he's talking about somebody else, he's always got four fingers pointing back at himself. Four fat, disease fingers.
We always say it, make America decent again. It's all we want. 29 minutes after the hour, Pete Dominic's here.
Maybe instead of $252 billion to a rogue agency like ICE, maybe we can actually keep our money here to provide health care here. We can have a secure border. We can enforce immigration policy, but we can do it without shooting people in the face or the back of the head. Maybe we keep our money here instead of fighting a war we got no business fighting.
Go on, Senator Al-Sayed. Fantastic. Future senator. Yes. Pete, well, got ahead of myself a little. Pete Dominic is here. Kyle Kulinski also talking about ICE.
If you're a Democrat, you need to run on Abolish ICE. If you're not running on Abolish ICE, you're simply not serious. A criminal gang is committing criminal activities, right? Like, they know. People know. So if you're a Democrat and you're saying anything other than Abolish ICE, think again. Get your together. This rogue regime is going to be dismantled brick by brick.
Weirdly, Pete, getting citizens getting shot in the face is not popular.
Yeah, it's really one of the worst things, and we can't say enough about it if we don't see it every day. But it's torn this country apart since the first Trump administration, obviously, when they did family separation, and you would see those images coming out. But this is the other thing that really has turned this country inside out and against this regime is that they're acting like authoritarian regimes of the past. And nobody likes it. Nobody likes it because people like their freaking neighbors.
Don't get into your Seinfeld register on me, mister.
Hey, but listen, I'll tell you what, abolish ICE. They should abolish ICE now. You know, what is with ICE? You just melts, it turns into water.
It's headlines like these, like the Gestapo. Lifelong Republican slams Trump after ICE detains fiancé. A 75-year-old man and self-proclaimed lifelong Republican has disavowed his support for Trump after his fiancé was detained by ICE and is now facing deportation. She was detained at the airport while trying to fly to Vegas. He said agents did not give him an explanation for her detention, did not identify themselves. He said she has no criminal record, added ICE said she overstayed her visa. She filed an asylum visa, and all their filings were timely. They really had no reason to arrest her. He said, I feel totally betrayed. I mean, you never think or never thought a guy like me would ever be involved in anything like this. Pete, I'm not as welcome waggy as Chris Lavoie is here. Like, it's hard for me. It's just, I know we need all these people back, but I think it's just, I get it. You thought it would happen to other people and not you, and now you're pissed because it's happening to you.
Well, yes.
Right?
First of all, a lot of these MAGA men, I think they would let Trump perform prima nocta on their wives, but they draw the line at sending their wives away so that they can't still have them. I don't feel bad for these guys. I think that there's a lot of ignorance to go around, but more importantly, everybody is saying this. Conservative MAGA farmers are saying, wait, I thought you were just going to get rid of the criminals. These guys all milk my cows. Where are you sending them? Where are they sending the cows?
He's just going to stay in his Seinfeld register.
Well, hey, there you go.
Okay. Who? Pete, who are these people?
Who are these people? I thought they were just sending the criminals and rapists, not the people who are cleaning my hotel.
You are a delight, sir. You know that? Oh, by the way, you posted way past time to start pressing political influencers and commentators on whether they accept funding and if they have artificially inflated follower and subscriber bases. I can attest. John Fugelsang is all man. There is nothing artificial there. Nothing is artificially pumped up.
Oh, I can
not up to bring up your insane jealousy about Jon Fugelsang.
But listen, my jealousy is more about his talent and his career, and yes, his looks. But I'm also still an honest person. I've seen everything about Jon Fugelsang, and he is the palest person I know.
He is. He
is nearly translucent.
Well, and also Stephanie has directly asked George Soros himself for money, and he said,
"Yes, I am the heir." I said, since I'm accused of taking so much of it, could I have some? And he, a resounding no, a resounding and immediate no.
An immediate no.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think people should be transparent about their funding, and they should be transparent. Speaking of Jon Fugelsang, the fact that a lot of people don't know this, he auditioned for and got 2 callbacks for Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Really? I did not know that. Yeah. I'd add to his resume.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought it was him in all the, what is it, what films are the Twilight, is it the vampire movies?
Yeah.
I assume that was him.
He did get cast as Powder, though, if anybody gets that reference.
Oh my God.
Anyone?
Yes. Wow.
Powder?
By the way, you mentioned we were talking about Mike Rogers' wife. Can I just say my future wife list, who has gone to the top, is Mrs. Fauci. Did you see her flipping the...
Oh, no, I didn't see this. What? Ma Fauci?
She took the bird at a photographer. She was seen flipping her middle finger to New York Post photographer who were harassing them outside their
I
home.
love it. Ma Fauci's.
Free bird, Mrs.
By the way,
Fauci.
just this, Mike Rogers is trying to scare fearmonger, and so are other white male Republicans or Republicans, Nancy Mason, others, about Abdul Saeed and any other Muslim. They're going to be like Sharia fundamentalist religion, but they are fundamentalists. They are Christian nationalists. Mike Rogers didn't even let his wife speak in his commercial.
Yeah. Yeah, she seemed in a good mood about it.
They vote against women's rights every opportunity they get. I mean, like, it's just bizarre to fearmonger and say that this guy's a crazy Muslim who's going to make women wear burqas. What? Yeah. You won't let women go to the hospital. What is with?
Uh-oh. Okay, back to the Seinfeld bridge. I can't get them. I keep trying to bring them back down. And Okay.
I'm back.
Okay. So we had talked about the stupid ballroom thing and the destruction at D.C. So Trump said 2 Obama and Biden judges have voted against the desperately needed military center. Oh, it's a military center now.
Yeah.
Required for national security in our country itself. Highly respected judge stated the following key points. Blah, blah, blah. So Joe Walsh said it was the ballroom. He loses a key court ruling, and so now it's the military center. What a fraud he is. I mean, this suit against the BBC, right? He sues for financial harm. They're like, okay, let's see your financials. He's like, never mind. Now it's not about that. Like, he's just...
It's so good that he's so dumb and has such a short attention span, because we'd be in such far worse shape if he could finish a sentence, much less a thought, much less a policy follow through. It's also good, and we should always remind folks listening that there are so many heroes in the federal government that are slow walking a lot of this stuff and making sure it doesn't happen. And obviously there are federal judges across the board that are looking at this stuff and saying, this is nonsense and you should not even be able to be a lawyer anymore.
Yeah. Well, and also, as we just talked about this stupid reflecting pool thing, based on what he said yesterday, Todd Blanche is probably going to re-prosecute this poor guy. David Hearn, the former Olympian, he said, "This is not the land of the free and the home of the brave that I know. I've represented in many competitions overseas, including 3 Olympic Games. It's just not right. It has to be rejected. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. Nobody's immune to this kind of government lawlessness, essentially." Yeah. And
I mean, the thing about this story that nobody's talking about is that most of us had no idea that canoeing was an Olympic event, and now
I did not know that.
People of color are going to take it over. I'm worried.
So, Senator Bill Cassidy, Profile and Courage, said he said why he was willing to vote for Todd Blanche. Cassidy suggests Blanche would be better able to push back on Trump if he's a Senate-confirmed full AG. Cassidy also suggests an alternative wouldn't be as capable. Okay, he said, and someone said Trump can fire the AG just like he can fire the acting AG. One of those things he's already done twice.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Cassidy has less of a leg to stand on than anyone else, because of his vote for RFK Jr. He knows that he got that wrong, or at least he has said he has, I believe. And obviously he knows he's going to get Blanche wrong too. People were really talking about when he looked like he was crying before he announced he would be voting for Todd Blanche and saying that he was probably compromised as a result. He went on a CBS and said, "It's just such a solemn duty. That's why my lip was quivering. You know, I may not be a tough guy," some nonsense like that. It was so pathetic. He is the worst, and the fact that he gets any credit is what upsets me.
Yeah. Well, lots of people, Greg said, I find this argument ridiculous. To confirm Blanche is not to better push back on Trump. To confirm Blanche is to legitimize the corrupt abuse of prosecutorial power and further sideline the Senate as a failure of checks and balances and abdication. Tim said, car thief won't break my car window if I give him the keys. In fact, I'll take better care of my car that way too. I mean, it just
when you think of Bill Cassidy and any of these senators, but especially when you think of Bill Cassidy, I hope you think of him down on his knees licking the boots of Donald Trump.
Speaking of vindictive prosecutions, Don Lemon seeks dismissal of church protest charges. He said he's being unlawfully targeted for vindictive prosecution. No kidding. He said President Trump's animosity toward Lemon is well documented, stretching back over a decade. They argue the Justice Department charged Lemon as punishment for his First Amendment protected reporting on protests related to the ICE surge in Minnesota. They're so obvious they're all vindictive prosecutions, but what are you expecting from not acting, but now full AG Todd Blanche?
Well, at this point, I personally feel like so many of these prosecutions have gone nowhere. They have been vindictive, and the person who's getting prosecuted, whether it be the kid who threw the sandwich or Don Lemon or anybody else, or the canoer, David O'Hearn, whose name I now have to know, is getting famous. So my point, Stephanie, is I would like to be vindictively prosecuted. Then I will sue the government and get the victims fund money and way more subscribers on my Substack. Please prosecute me.
Take me away, please.
Take me now. Please prosecute me. Come for me. I want to be Don Lemon famous.
Who? Where are my jailers? Okay. All right. So here's the good news. As to your point, Pete, Trump administration now 0 in 21 in demands for voter rolls. I mean, we talk to your bald twin, Glenn Kirshner, about this every Friday, but the justice system is holding for now. The Trump administration's streak of courtroom defeats in an effort to obtain state vote rolls has reached 21. A judge ruled this week states are not required to share records with the federal government. Trump argues that widespread non-citizen voting is benefiting the Democratic Party, even though state audits and independent studies have found non-citizen voting to be infinitesimally rare. Right? A Reuters investigation found just 129 people have been prosecuted for non-citizen voting since the law was passed in 1996, and most of those cases stem from voter confusion or miscommunication with election officials.
Yeah. I mean, the statistic that resonates the most with me is the outcome of no election has ever been affected by non-citizen voting or by any fraudulent voting similar to that, or any at all that we know of. Our election system is very secure, and we should be happy about that and support government policies and people who do that, as well as these people suing to make sure we get them right, like Mark Elias and so on. But most importantly, this is just a reminder to support your state and local government and elections, because that is where the line will be held.
Yeah. And I saw another, I don't know if it was study or story, but about that of all, this percentage of people that were caught, they weren't allowed to vote. It was caught before voting. It's the vanishingly rare instance it even happened.
To imagine that someone would commit that crime? Why? Why would you fraudulently vote?
Why?
Who is doing that? Some Asian guy walks in to vote and then looks for his name that's an Italian one? He'd be caught.
46 minutes after the hour.
Stephanie Miller.
Will I though? Yeah. All right, well. Wow, scandal-scarred Congressman Max Miller may drop re-election bid in days, according to... What? No! I just love this line. He's really worried about what his daughter's going to think when she gets older, one colleague said. Really?
The daughter whose collarbone he broke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she may have some thought.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you for reminding me of that word, Pete.
You were talking about people inflating their accounts. Did you know Truth Social has lost half its users this year because everything Trump touches?
Yeah.
Yes, it's a dramatic. It dropped to 261,000 active users. Facebook has 2 billion. X still has 130 million. Okay.
How do you find Truth Social?
Lucy McLoserton from Losertown. Can I just say that?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely true. Do people even know about Truth Social? Like, does anybody ever hear about it, or does anybody ever talk about it? Like, dude, did you hear about that? Yeah, I saw somebody post on Truth Social, and then I went and bought one. What is that?
I love when headline has Fox in it. Fox Business reporter shares disappointing weak jobs report. Where are the jobs?
Where are the jobs?
Even Fox News is getting into their Seinfeld register. Yeah. Even host Maria Bartiromo with her flounder eyes admitted it was a weak jobs report. The unemployment rate. It was bad. It was just bad. Even Fox can't spin this anymore, Pete.
I have never heard you or anyone refer to her flounder eyes. I've never known what.
It's like a hammerhead shark. They're too far apart.
I understand immediately what you meant by it, and I need time. I need some time. It's the words every time I look at her, I'm going, what is with her face? And that's the thing.
That's it.
And it also affects her thinking because she doesn't know where she's looking at any point.
Yes.
Right, exactly. She has no depth perception.
It's good for panels because she doesn't have to turn her head. She could, if there's a panel person here and here. Okay.
But enough eye-shaming Maria Bartiromo. What did she say?
Yeah, what did she say?
Oh, the jobs. Even she's surprised.
It's disappointing.
Yeah.
Very disappointing.
How can you tell when she's surprised? She always looks surprised with her eyes open that wide.
With those flounder eyes.
Yeah.
Okay. Trump's economic chief, Kevin Hassett, overly smiley, creepy. Yeah. So we have the audio. He blamed Biden.
Yep.
Blamed Biden.
Oh, wait. I wonder if he'll blow his nose.
And he used the World Cup to explain away the poor unemployment report that saw the U.S. losing 23,000 jobs.
A lot of the jobs were only... Before you play the clip, I'll do it.
He does need to blow his nose.
A lot of the jobs...
You're right. That's true. He sounds like an 80s DJ. Or a traffic reporter.
Hey, everybody, it's me. There's no job. There were jobs here because of soccer, but now the soccer's gone, so the jobs are gone. You have to understand that. Consider how great it was for the soccer, of all the soccering.
I at least have a nose blower. That was an official job. This is... nose right before I go on television. It's a lie about the economy.
Just to be clear, this is my actual voice and how I sound. And also, look.
All right. So we've been talking about all these projects that, whatever, Trump is focusing on. He said, I am not a tenant of the White House. Yes, you are a tenant, right? Because he's talking about his stupid ballroom again. He says, we are not tenants who pay rent and do all the other things tenant must do. We are presidents. Oh, it's in caps. I see.
The people are paying his rent.
Yeah. He said the decision made after much of the work's been done and paid for is a national security threat and blah, blah, make America great again. Okay.
He's the ultimate tenant.
He is a tenant, yes.
Ultimate house. And every president before him has been, honored and modest about living in that house and being the, quote, caretaker of that house. He's the only one that's demolished it. He demolished it!
Who are these people that let him do it? That's what I'm saying. Okay. Wow. Okay, I guess we'll do one more from Corruption Stack. Howard Nutlick.
That's Lutnick.
Hey,
sure. I always get that wrong. Promotes Don Jr.'s Magnets venture. They're just doing this right in the open, Pete. They don't care. Trump offered an enthusiastic endorsement of magnets during... Oh, does he finally realize they still work when they're wet?
Well, super awkward. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but I got to promote my new item. It's called Nutlick, Steph. Folks.
It's like Nutella.
Sometimes your kids move out and it becomes an empty nest. And you're divorced, you're separated, you're single, you live alone. Folks, Nutlick is a new product that I have been using. It's
okay. All right.
Changed my life. I ended up on an island with a billionaire.
Trump offered an enthusiastic endorsement of magnets during the Friday State Department event, saying, you got to go with magnets, as Nutlick plugged Vulcan Elements. That's a company backed by Don Jr., of course. Peter Navarro personally requested the Pentagon approve the $620 million loan. Defense officials told the outlet they were instructed to move unusually quickly after receiving the request, with one official saying, the call came from the White House. We have to get this done. They're insider trading in the open. Like, they don't care anymore.
Oh, no. They're getting as much
Bye,
as
everyone.
they can. Incidentally,
Thanks for
Peter
watching.
Navarro is a
Bye-bye.
user of Nutlick,
All right.
folks.
That is a wrap on today's episode of Stand Up. Thank you very much for listening, for watching. If you're watching it now on YouTube or Substack or Facebook or anywhere else that I'm posting it, I can't do it without you. Patreon.com/Pete Dominic.
She said you wouldn't know a joke if you were raised by one.
Just glitched. You can also Venmo me anytime. My Venmo address is at the end of every day's show notes. If you want to send a couple extra bucks, I'm always up for that. Thank you very, very much for joining me along the ride here, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Be the change you want to see today. Thanks for being here and for being you, bumblebees. Jon Carroll, take it away. August 11th, Northampton, Mass.
They should head over to YouTube at Stand Up with Pete and subscribe now for my daily news update. And
brought to you by Nutlick.
Brought to you by Nutlick.
Who are you people that are listening to Pete?
All right, that is today's episode of Stand Up. Thank you very much for your support. I hope to see you live on Substack at Stand Up with Pete at 10 and noon today, and I will share one or both those interviews on tomorrow's show. I won't have the regular show format for you because tonight I am out with some of you listeners of the show and the stand-up community watching one of our favorite people, singer-songwriter, the legend Jon Carroll, performing live. And so tomorrow's show will be my interview with probably Anya and or Nicholas Grossman. And so I look forward to talking to you then. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Subscribe and get a paid subscription on Substack or Patreon. And have a great day and a good life. Have a great life. Find the good life and study Stoic philosophy. So I'm getting really into it. I'm reading William Irvine's How to Have a Good Life right now. It's very good and helpful in this moment. So thanks, guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.
When the tyrants taunt you and the sirens teach you, better stand up. Stand up. Let the brave meet the challenge. Let the weak flee. Boy, you better stand up. Stand up. When you're tired of begging, saying pretty please, that's the time you gotta finally get up off of your knees. When you can't see the forest for the burning trees, you got to stand up. Hey, you've been sitting so long, you got the creaky knees, you got to stand up. Stand up. I think you're driving wheels with leaking grease. Boy, you better stand up. Stand up. Well, there's a whole lot more of us who know what's right. They'll keep right on ignoring us if we keep sitting tight. You got to open up the window to let in some light. You got to stand up. That's right. We got to rise up. You got to stand up. You got to stare the devil straight in the eye. We got to let him know it's his turn to go. See it clear when all you hear is a lie. So get up off of your butt, get down off of your fence. And even if it ain't a very friendly audience, well, they'll begin to listen when you start making sense. And you stand up. Stand up. No need to point your rifle to defend your town. Just stand up. Stand up. You know they can't deny you what you're laying down. Boy, you better stand up. Stand up. Show your face of every color, yellow, black, red, and brown. She's the place where every lost child will finally be found. There's only one thing to do before we stand our ground, and that's stand up. Stand up. Well, the founding fathers saw a land for all. They had to stand up. They had to stand up. They had a keen imagination for a crystal ball, drawing all the plans of stand up. But all they had to go on was the time they were in, with other causes for laws, and since they weren't in sin, they knew that change was gonna come before the change would begin. They had to stand up. All right, they had to stand up. We got to stand up. We got to look the devil square in the eye. We gotta let him know it's his time to go, and make it clear when all we hear is a lie. Why you lying awake see them flee the scene of that experiment. If you stand up, alright, we got to speak up, we got to reach up and raise your voice in every way you know how. Don't be toes up, you got to show up. Ain't no better time to do it but now. No need to pledge allegiance to no wanton tribe. Rise up and show obedience to the voice inside. And listen well and it'll tell you not to run and hide. It says stand